And I think it speaks to the level of athlete that's out here in that versus a team sport. You know, if 2 or 3 guys fall apart, that might ruin it for 30 guys.
That's
but
true.
in MMA, you've got guys out here that are training in their bedroom, training in their garage, whatever, because they want to taste someone's blood on a Saturday night in the middle of Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, Downey comes with a
This is your
with a bunch of
last and
experience.
final fight of the evening in the Midwest Championship Fighting Professional Featherweight Contender Division. Introducing first, out of your Lavander's blue corner, this is a tactician fighter, standing 5 foot 11 inches tall and weighing in at 145.6 pounds. This fighter holds a record of 3 wins, no losses. Representing Pariah MMA, fighting out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Make some noise for Edwin Chavez.
Now, if Chavez wins this, does Russ Jones have to give him a title shot?
Oh, yeah.
Introducing now
That-
his opponent across the cage in the white tail red corner. This is a freestyle fighter, standing 6 foot tall and weighing in at 145.2 pounds. This fighter holds a record of 6 wins, 5 losses. Representing Lee Brothers MMA, fighting out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Make some noise for Jordan the Jackal Downey.
You know, Downey looks like he definitely gained 20 pounds after weigh-ins.
This fight is powered by
Yeah.
Quick Stop, is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds, and will be overseen by referee Joe Doherty.
I can tell you this personally, though. You know, training and coaching in North Platte, if you win a contender fight, you're gonna fight for a title.
Okay.
So yeah, and there's a.
So
I
you
don't
think
know.
this goes both ways? Whoever wins gets a title shot?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
As long as the champ is ready, you know, depending on that situation, and they're getting down right away.
Yes.
Ate some big shots.
Downey
he
may
must
had a
not
nice
have wanted
cross.
to be there. Feels comfortable with his wrestling, and there he takes his back.
Edwin, he's done pretty well with some jits. He's
Okay.
won some matches. That rear naked choke of him is sneaky with his long, lanky arms.
Sits for a Kimura, half guard.
He's holding on the Kimura, looking to advance position here.
Yeah, I love the Kimura trap system. I love trying to use that to transition, but he's busting off of him.
Well, I'd like to see, honestly, Edwin, I'd like to see him
Framing
put
out.
his knee right on his head.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
lean down, draw out from it. Yep, small movements.
That was something we saw in the amateur female fight earlier in the night. That knee position as she was transitioning into mount was beautiful. Looked great.
Slow, but it was good.
Yes. She knew
But
what she
she's
was
an
doing,
amateur.
knew where she wanted to be. Yeah, that's something I want to see out of an amateur fighter.
I agree.
Especially when you pull guard. If
That was
you're
crazy.
that type of person
That
that,
was
pulls
crazy.
guard, which I've
See,
done
Anthony,
it.
you make me look bad because I said it looked sloppy. So.
I thought it looked sloppy. I did.
Maybe it did, but I appreciate
got
the
it done.
confidence in
She got
doing
it done.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Again, and then the gentleman that fought afterwards, those heel kicks that he was throwing. Yeah, maybe not timed correctly, whatever, but to turn your back against your opponent and throw that takes a confidence level that some guys don't have.
I would like to see Edwin. He's not focusing enough on passing guard here. He's kind of just he's accepting that this is where he is and he's got to throw punches from here, and that's not the right mentality.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Posture up, do something. Let's
Like you
go.
said earlier, right? These guys are well-rounded. They need to be advancing and moving on.
Yeah, and you know, maybe you grab this guy and you go, okay, his wrestling's a little bit better than I thought it was. You take that time to say, how does he move this way? How does he move that way? If I do this, what does he do here? Sometimes you have time to make that decision in a fight at the pro level. As an amateur, I'd say you probably don't, and that's why you see more finishes.
That's fair. I would like to see Edwin posture up a bit more.
There we go. And I'd like to see him, there we go. Open that guard, push it off. There we go. Make some distance. Stop getting hit. Oh. The gentleman I was supposed to fight, Cody Land, he's knocked a couple people out with those heel kicks.
Downey fought Land.
Yep.
Lost to Land. That was probably his most notable fight, honestly. Cody Land's a tough kid.
Oh, yeah. Me and Cody actually trained together. We were training partners in Hastings. Shit.
Love fighting
8
friends.
years ago.
Love
Oh,
fighting
man.
friends.
I fought a
Wow,
few.
good elbows.
Yeah, so did he sit out like he was going to, transition position? And he read that really well and started dropping some elbows.
He's doing a good job, but again, doing that much activity that low in his guard, I think can be a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether he pays for that or not, we're going to find out. But we saw that in the earlier fights, right? You can't just push forward like that. That's old school wrestlers did that, and they ran into jiu-jitsu issues.
Yep.
So what is Downey doing? I mean, obviously he's trapping and trying to. But how is he trying to advance here?
So, I think unfortunately right now, Downey is in a position where he should be looking for more subs for advancement.
Yep.
And I think he's more just playing it safe.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that also speaks to the level that these guys are at. They're capable of calming themselves down and saying, hey, maybe that's not the best decision, and I'm better off eating a couple shots than going for a submission I'm not going to get.
I think that's very, very accurate. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you see it? If he can keep him trapped, do you see a chance to stand up here, or is?
I would, just because Edwin Chavez's punches right now are coming very straight. And when you're in someone's guard, there's a lot of danger that comes with that.
Now look at that wrist control. He's going into wrist control and throwing those elbows over the top.
I'm surprised that Downey isn't going for more of an armbar, just a general armbar, or maybe even a flower sweep.
Yep.
I'd like to see some of that. He's kind of just playing it easy right now.
Yeah, he's really riding it out, and I can't hate on it when we watched the last fight that we did,
That's true, but they are pros, like you said, though.
Yep.
We are talking another level.
Absolutely.
Now, I will say, somebody that's trained jiu-jitsu, I really don't have a lot of confidence in Downey's jiu-jitsu based on what he's doing.
I'm disappointed. He should be going for an Platte right now. It is there. Wow. There's the flower
sweep.
There we
go.
Though.
There it was. Yep.
Okay. But I would not let him up. That was silly.
No. That's a position that I would have liked to see that guillotine attempt, potentially. Anything to get control over that opponent from getting back to a 50-50 position.
I agree. I think, unfortunately, even with Downey's big movements at the end of the round, he lost the round because he spent so much time on bottom not doing anything.
I was going to say, what do you take from that round? Downey spent a lot of time on the ground, essentially just trying to trap him.
I think at this level, what we need to take from it is what adjustments do they make this next round?
Yes.
Do they do things different than they did this round? Do they make the same mistakes? Do they advance positions that they couldn't the previous round?
I agree. To me, I completely agree. I would say with Downey, his corner should be telling him to use his reach, use that long jab, keep some distance, and still be patient, but make the correct decision that you're not making from crisis mode or being on the bottom.
Yeah, and I can say, even at the highest levels, guys will get jitters. Guys will get nervous. And this, I can tell you from those fighter meetings, from whatever, those guys know when you come to North Platte, it's a big show. If you have that pressure on you, you get that first round out of the way, maybe we're going to see a completely different fight here in the second round.
So going to the second round, what do you expect to see from Chavez? What do you think his cornerstone is?
I think Chavez has to come out strong and regain that momentum he had going in. And I would say Downey is under a different, right? I got to win this round back.
Yep.
I got to win my pride back and hold my ground.
Yep. And again, Downey's fought here a few times. He knows what it's like to be under the pressure against a good opponent. I think he'll handle it well.
He's using his reach here. He's doing well. I don't like the sloppy kick. I'd like to see both of them hydro kicks. Yeah, hydro kicks. A lot of wasted energy there.
Well, what is the value of a high kick like that catches an arm when you can throw a low kick and actually create some real damage?
So, in fairness, the high kick, even blocking that, takes damage, right? It is like a video game.
Yeah.
You do have monitors and you do have health bars for your blocking. You have health bars for your stamina, and a lot of that does play out, and you can see it in practices or in fights.
I couldn't agree more. I think there's a lot of comparisons to make to those video games there. I think for me, we started off with watching Crow Cop, right leg hospital, left leg cemetery. And, when you set those up, you're going to put somebody out. But we're not seeing a lot of setup here.
Not a lot of setup, I agree.
We're seeing a lot of distance confusion.
Or rushed movements.
Yeah.
I like the stand-up here on Downey's part, but I don't want to see him settle on the ground again.
I think something Ryan mentioned earlier, too, is that when you have so much footage of your opponent, you can watch their entire career, you may have an idea going into this fight that does not play out. Because
No,
I'm already
man.
saying, hey, I know you've watched me do this X, Y, and Z. Guess what? Not tonight. I'm going to do something different.
You
What happens?
commentated, I believe, for one of my fights against Beltran.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had planned for, he throws this leg kick when he first comes out. We planned for it. Didn't throw it.
Yep.
And
yep.
I was so mad about it.
It's just how it goes. I mean, that's happened to everybody, that's been around for a while. You go out there and things do not go as planned. What transitions do you make? How do you evolve? What are you going to do?
These hammer punches are coming down hard.
So, I mean, how do you defend this? I mean, it seems like he has no answer.
Honestly,
for it.
right now he has to turn into him. He's got to turn into him.
Yep.
He's absolutely got
Trap
to turn
an
into
arm.
him. Grab an arm, baseball bat it.
Yep.
Turn it around.
2-on-1, turn and face.
Well, he's got him
Use
trapped
the
against
cage.
the cage. That helps him a lot, right?
The truth is, though, when you
I
in
like
this position, where Downey is, he can use the cage like he can use the ground, and he can help himself turn into him. But I think it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Downey gets very complacent. Yeah, he can't just sit here. He's got to advance.
He's carrying the weight of his opponent. He's pushing off that cage, and he's making him carry his weight. Now he just gained a hook because of it. He's still eating those shots. They may not look like they hurt, but they stop you from reacting.
Well, and the repetition can make you foggy.
Absolutely.
We saw that with Brock Lesnar, right? He hits you 30 times in 30 seconds, and you end up going out.
Yep. I've got to fight myself. I think we counted like 40-some shots I ate in a row. Yeah, and I just couldn't, you just freeze up. You can't move.
Well, yeah, you're flurried.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, I will say that Downey actually, even after all these punches and he's in a bad position, I can see him sitting here thinking and maneuvering and trying to figure out what's next, even though he's, still in a bad position.
But I think that's what we're talking about. I think he's doing it too slow.
Yeah, yep.
He's got to move on. He can't be complacent here. He gets in a bad position. He stays safe, but safe doesn't win a fight. And at 6-5 pro, it's time you start caring about winning fights.
Yep.
And he clearly has talent.
And this is a position that I feel very comfortable in. I've finished a lot of fights
So what is he doing going
here.
after those legs like that?
Well, I mean,
it's because the back is up against the cage. It's an awkward position to try to get your hooks in and do what you need to do. So you pull those feet under instead of on the inside, kick them out, flatten them out, and maybe get your legs back up. But that's not what I would go for because you're not going to finish the fight there with your head up against the cage.
I agree. I feel Downey there let go of a toe hold he should have had.
I would have felt better walking against the cage and going parallel with it instead of leaning up against it. Good short hook in there. And I'm seeing adjustments. I mean, yeah, Downey needs to get back to the basics and quit throwing one shot at a time.
Yeah, you can't be one punching.
I think he needs to use a jab in his length like you were talking about.
Yeah, I agree. He seems like the bigger guy, seems stronger, but his cardio does seem down. And I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like he's going to be down 2 rounds to 1 now.
Yeah.
2 rounds to none.
Yep, I agree.
And he's proven that he's definitely not the strong guy on the ground.
No.
He definitely doesn't have the ground game. He's got to figure out a way to stand up in the second round, the third round.
And to be fair, sometimes the strong guy on the ground isn't necessarily the guy that's doing the best. Sometimes that may work for him. He may have a bunch of training partners that are 10, 20, 15 pounds lighter than him, whatever it is.
And he can get away with that.
I can tell you, I was the small guy in the gym all the time. We had heavyweights, light heavyweights, middleweights, whatever. And I was always the smallest guy.
Big
and I
Rob.
got my ass whooped. Yeah, Big Rob knows. He threw me all around that place. But you know what? I choked him out a couple times. When you're smaller, you got to use that technique. And it's interesting to see how some of that plays out. I know there's journeymen, that have 1 or 2 training partners that come out and just can't get it quite done. And a lot of it depends on your teammates. It does.
So as a coach, what are you going to tell Downey he's got to do in this third round?
The truth is, Downey, like we discussed, he needs a finish.
Yeah,
he's down 2 rounds to none. There's no confusion here.
You have the kill or you don't have the kill. This is your time. This is your 5 minutes. What did we show up here for? You need to be capable of knocking this guy out. You need to be capable of finishing this fight. Otherwise, we shouldn't be here.
I'd like to see him go for leg kicks early, maybe the first 40 seconds or so of the round, and start opening up that head.
And that's the same combination we've seen him open up with almost every round. You know, I get everybody has their comfort zone, but hey, you know, we're going for it.
How does he prevent getting tied up and getting that takedown again?
Well, I mean, again, using that long reach of his.
And he needs to use his footwork. He gets in these spots where he's covering up and he's throwing back, but he's not moving his feet.
He's getting stuck there.
Yes, and that's when we're seeing level changes and we're seeing him pushed up against the cage.
I absolutely agree.
Well, he seems like he's spending a lot of time moving backwards and getting himself trapped against the cage, and that's where he's grabbing him.
It's
and
that
taking him down.
complacency. Yeah, that complacency. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, he seems very comfortable on his back. And look, he's going for that. Kimura. That's
hard position to get it, but he could get it.
Deep, yeah.
He's got to let it rip. He's got to let it rip if he's going to get it.
And you know what? That's a submission I've hit before. I wish you would have half guard.
He should go over, to top. I agree, and pull
But it's too
off.
late for that now. But I would try to maintain control and maybe transition to an arm bar.
He's got to extend his hips in and push over the top.
Oh, and he's over the top. There he goes. And that was technical. That was a good transition.
That was
from
a great
rough
transition.
Position. He just proved to me that he's one of those grinders. He's one of those guys that can be in an awkward position and maintain a comfortable level of pushing forward.
Well, I think
losing
6 and
it.
5 creates that, right?
Yeah, 11 pro fights.
11 pro
absolutely.
fights creates that.
So at what point here do you transition to something different?
You know,
Now.
this is where it's tough, right? Because you're down 2 rounds to none. It's easy to say, yes, transition. But at the same time, when you are the one knowing you're down,
Yep.
it's hard to let go of a possibility.
There's a comfort level
Yes.
in being in the dominant position that you want to sit in, but that complacency just caused him to get taken back
I
down.
completely agree with you. Yep, absolutely. And now I wonder how tired he is.
Yeah.
Can he replay what he did? Because right now, the triangle possibility is there, and he's not attacking it very, very heavily.
Well, he's got to break him down a little bit to get to that triangle there, and I just don't think he was moving the right way. He's going after that arm again. It's like that's his one thing that he can do from down there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I agree that Edwin's leaving it open, but he hasn't given it to you.
Yes.
There's 2.5 rounds left. I mean,
He's not leaving it there. Yeah.
Right.
And that was a beautiful transition. See what he does with it. No hooks.
Yeah, I don't know why he
Waiting
didn't
for a
hook. Why
stand
did
up.
he
Yeah. Gave up a good position there.
Hooks could have been a great opportunity for him.
Ooh. Good straight left. Still would love to see them set those kicks up more.
So, you and I were joking earlier about the Gaethje fight last weekend, but almost that's what Downey needs to be doing is creating that distance that Gaethje was trying to do last weekend with Khabib.
Yeah, the problem that you had, or the difference you had in that fight, the pressure of Khabib was so ridiculous, and it was so accurate because he never stayed in front of him.
Yeah, Gaethje was
Khabib would
reactionary.
throw and move 6 inches right, then throw and move 6 inches left, but all the time moving forward. And it was just so much at a time.
And at the same time, Gaethje landed shots that he's landed on other guys that sat him down.
That
that's
first
a
cross,
frustrating position to be
I
in.
agree.
I made a joke earlier about landing a knee on a guy. I landed a knee on this guy, and he fell back into the cage like he was out cold, and he bounced back and smiled at me, and I felt that during that Khabib fight.
No,
Gaethje's
What is
landed.
Chavez trying to do here by isolating that arm like he is on that
So
takedown?
right now he's isolating arm so he doesn't get taken down. He's pulling that shoulder back to not give him the single leg, and he's hoping while he can inside hook the
And
same
Downey
wrist
played it beautiful.
and then elbows. I agree.
Yep, reached over,
The
got
hip
the
ride.
trip.
Hip
Yep.
ride.
And he's locking it up. There we go, Khabib right there. See what he can do with it. He needs to posture up, get that arm out, and land some bombs.
Yeah, I mean,
And with a minute left, he's got to do a lot more than land some
yeah,
bombs
his
here.
coach has got to be yelling at him right now. There's only 50 seconds. Like, throw. Just throw.
Yeah, this is create some space and look for the knockout.
I'm disappointed in what had just happened with Downey. He again gave himself a chance at the upper hand and kind of squandered it.
Yep. Yeah, it's almost as though he lost that confidence early. And that can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you are into something there. Absolutely.
But that's what I think makes this sport better than any other sport there is. You can't rely on anybody else but yourself and your heart and your determination, and that's what makes a difference in a lot of these close fights. And they're still going for it. I mean,
They are. I think Chavez gets the win.
Yep.
3 rounds to none.
Yep. Yeah, I was impressed with his composure. I would like to see him go for some of the better positions that he had. If he would have went for the finish a little bit more, I think he could have got it.
I agree, but I think it's what we talked about earlier. I was really hoping to see Edwin come in and finish that midway through the second. I do think it is time for him and Drew to get back to the drawing board, and I think that's exactly what Drew would say. Hey, that's a fight you should have finished. What do we have to change to allow you to execute the way you have to?
Yep. I think something that you don't hear spoken about very often is these guys going to different gyms. That was something that used to be really frowned upon in some ways, and maybe at this level, after seeing yourself fight like that, maybe you think to yourself, hey, maybe I need to go here and get better at this or that.
I mean, if you're Downey's coach, I mean, what do you take from this fight?
Complacency.
Yeah,
Can't be
absolutely.
complacent. Yeah, he was very complacent. Anthony had called that from the beginning. He's absolutely right. He was too complacent and too accepting of being in a bad situation.
Yep.
So I mean, if you're Chavez, you say go for it. You say you say take that step, move to that finish.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing: Chavez, who clearly is a good athlete, right? He's 4-0, but without being mean, well, what has he done? You're 4-0, but this is what you did with a 500 fighter?
Yep.
Like, unfortunately, that's not enough.
This professional featherweight division bout went to the judges. One judge scored 30-27. The other two judges 29-28. With a unanimous decision and winner, out of the blue corner, Edwin Chavez.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right call. Edwin did dominate that fight.
Yep.
From the beginning. There was a few flurries that came out of Downey that looked good, but really overall, I mean, I feel that Edwin dominated. How do you feel about it?
I feel like it was a good fight. It was a good pro fight, but I got to give both these guys props because I can tell you training for this during COVID was tough. It is what it is. We're getting back to it. I wish both of them well. I think they put on a good performance, and wish them both the best in the future.